Tell me if this situation sounds familiar. You and your friends go out into the forest. Uh, you do this a lot. You hang out there all the time. You might even have like a little secret hangout spot. Then one day you get lost in the forest for hours, separated from everyone. If you've been in this situation, which multiple of my friends have, you would know how scary it is. Now imagine being stuck out in the wilderness for days and weeks on end. This situation happens all the time. Chris McCandles was a guy who got stuck out in the wilderness and died to poison and starvation. Aaron Ralston was a guy who got his hand stuck between the wall of a little area in a mountain and a literal boulder. Aaron Ralston would survive. If you were dropped into an area of wilderness with nothing for thousands of miles, would you be able to survive longer than a day? Because all the survival skills that I know, and let's be honest, the average person knows, you either need a knife or some rope or something like that. But you really got to think about it. If you don't have any tools and if you don't have any experience, you can't hunt for food, you can't find water, you won't be able to survive the night. And this brings me to the main reason why the wilderness is so scary. It's because most people aren't prepared for it. And also, the wilderness is so unpredictable. So a lot of people who go out there and get trapped would most likely die. All fears we have, in one way or another, can link back to the fear of death. If you are in the wilderness by yourself, no one can help you. And like I said, if you are in the wilderness by yourself, there's more things that want to hurt you. But let's say that somehow you are able to find a obsidian rock, crack it off, and maybe make it into some type of arrow tip or a makeshift knife. Then you have a tool. But you gotta remember, obsidian and flint and stuff like that are so fragile that they are practically glass. I mean, obsidian is classified as a glass. But once it breaks, it's easy to give up hope. It's so unpredictable out there. And you can't rely on your own knowledge because you have none. It is also the unpredictability. Society has not prepared for you to be put out into the jungle or the forest. Humans get a layer of comfort not being out in the wilderness because nothing can really hurt us when we are in society. I'm going to bring back a topic that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Chris McCandles. Also, I'm just going to be calling him Chris from now on because Chris McCandles is a long name and I want to save time. Chris went out into the wilderness with nothing but a .22 caliber hunting rifle, which, let's be honest, the only thing you'd probably catch with that is maybe small animals like geese, squirrels, maybe a rabbit. He also went out with 2 sandwiches, a pair of boots, and a bag of chips, which isn't much when you consider that he was out in the wilderness for 113 days before he died. They made a movie about it called Into the Wild. However, I recommend that you check out his writings and his journal here. Well, it's not really a journal, it's just a single page, but you can kind of put together his story through these writings. Basically, when he went out into the wilderness, he found nothing except for an abandoned bus. Which, yes, he did make the decision to go out into the wilderness on his own. He was actually pretty simple in the fact that he didn't like owning his own things. Would make him very stubborn whenever someone would try to gift something to him. For example, he bought his own car, which wasn't really that good, and then his parents offered him a really nice car, and he refused it because he felt like he didn't earn it. So, supposedly in his writings, he says that he killed a moose. However, I don't really find that believable because, like I mentioned earlier, he was using a .22 caliber rifle, which I don't even think could kill a wolf. In his writings, however, he says that he ate a bad potato seed, which got him sick, which many people believe he died from that. However, there's also another leading theory. Because of his diet being mostly squirrels and small amounts of meat like that, his body kind of lost the ability to break it down over time, if that makes any sense. And so because he was eating so much meat like that, he eventually starved. When you really talk about situations like this, you notice how hard and how terrifying it would be to be out in the wild. You might be able to keep yourself fed, but after a while, you're still going to starve to death. And you can't even resort to plants because most plants out in the wilderness are poisonous or have some sort of defense mechanism. So next time you go on a hike, be glad you brought a map. Be glad that you're not stuck or be glad you know where you are. Or you might end up one of the unlucky few. Thanks for watching the video, everyone. I don't know if I'm going to bring a full time back to YouTube. It's raining out here. I'm going to go inside.